Hello and welcome to another TLDR UK video. Take a look at this graph. These lines represent sentiment towards Irish reunification. That is, Northern Ireland leaving the United Kingdom and becoming part of the Republic of Ireland. You may be shocked to find out that this polling data shows an increase in the number of Northern Irish people who want to leave the UK and join the Republic. You might be even more shocked to see the timescale, because this shift has been rapid. So in this video, we're going to discuss Northern Ireland's history in relation to the UK and the Republic of Ireland, what's happened in the last few years to drive this truly monumental change, and whether we're likely to see the status of Northern Ireland change in the months and years ahead. Before we start, I'm pleased to announce that because TLDR is growing, we're moving office into a new, bigger space. That means we have to move a lot of stuff though, so we're holding an office clearance sale. All of our merch is discounted, including all of our badges for only $3.99. But we're also selling office things like our sofa and our fridge. No, seriously, we're selling them. So check out the store if you want a pin or even our sofa. It's linked in the description. Next month is the 100th anniversary of Northern Ireland, marking a significant milestone for the country and the UK as a whole. Back in 1921, many doubted that the country would reach its 100th birthday, but Unionists seem to have proved those doubters wrong, which should mean that this is time for celebration. But, well, I think you can see where this is going. Compressing any country's political history into something pithy would always be difficult, but for Northern Ireland that's especially tough, because things were difficult from the start when it comes to this nation. Following years of dispute and disagreement about the relationship between Great Britain and the island of Ireland, in 1921 the northern section of the island was carved out and these 6 counties became Northern Ireland. In 1921, King George, at the opening of the Northern Irish Parliament, encouraged people to put the past behind them, remarking, "I appeal to all Irishmen to pause and stretch out the hand of forbearance and conciliation, to forgive and forget, and to join in making for the land they love an era of peace, contentment and goodwill." While this seemingly might have been a nice message, and some Unionists might have wanted to follow their king's guidance, that's certainly not how things played out. With the Unionists all but guaranteed power in the new Northern Irish Parliament, I mean, it's not exactly subtle where this line was drawn, Unionist parties and politicians were able to implement policies which supported their Unionist voters and suppressed those who voted against them. This ordinarily happened on religious lines, with Catholics generally being more nationalist, that's in favour of leaving the UK, and Protestants being more unionist, that's in favour of the Union. As such, for years politics worked to ensure that jobs, housing and all kinds of advantages were handed down on the basis of religion to those who supported the government. This was so well recognised that even the Unionist leader David Trimble, who won a Nobel Peace Prize for his work on the Good Friday Agreement, remarked that Unionists, fearful of being isolated on the island, built a solid house, but it was a cold house for the Catholics. And Northern Nationalists, although they had a roof over their heads, seemed to us as if they meant to burn the house down. These tensions continued until 1972, when Northern Ireland's parliament collapsed entirely, following the demands of Catholics who called for a full reform. This peaceful campaign for change was ultimately overtaken by the IRA, with this shift leading to the troubles which would define the region for decades, until some sort of peace was reached upon the signing of the Good Friday Agreement in the 90s. While the IRA failed to achieve their core objective, reunifying the country with Ireland, Sinn Féin did enter the new Northern Irish Assembly as a bold new political force advocating for the nationalists. With the troubles appearing to be resolved, many in mainland Britain seemingly moved on from the Northern Irish issue. It continued to dominate politics on the island of Ireland, but the issue didn't truly re-emerge on the national stage for a couple more decades. And, well, re-emerge it did. You don't even need to look at graphs like this for proof that things are getting difficult in the region. Look to the streets over the last few months and you'll see a stark picture. We're not going to discuss the riots in this video, because we already did that in another video linked below, but it's worth acknowledging them as a backdrop for this whole conversation. So what caused this dramatic shift in sentiment? Well, while the cause of the riot is a little difficult to unpack, it does seem that there are two core issues at the heart of this change: Brexit and Arlene Foster. Foster, the DUP's leader, might be an ardent unionist, but it's been argued that her actions in relation to Brexit and Northern Ireland more generally may have, in the words of The Economist, done more to advance Irish unity than the nationalists. So what has Foster done to change the tides against her own cause, and how has Brexit contributed? Well, this feels almost too obvious to comment on, but Northern Ireland obviously has a major geographic difference from the rest of the UK, because unlike the other nations, it's not primarily located on the island of Great Britain. That makes life more difficult for a post-Brexit Northern Ireland, because not only are they much closer to their EU neighbour on the south, sharing a significant border, but also new trade borders have been erected, and continue to be erected, between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK. We've talked about this a bunch on the channel before, but despite reassurances from Johnson and others, the Brexit deal signed in December means that there's been increased friction between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. This might not be a full trade border or anything, but the new checks and paperwork have already had an impact on businesses, with a number of companies, including household names, ceasing trade across the Irish Sea, and in effect, cutting off Northern Ireland. Now, this doesn't mean that supermarket shelves are barren in Northern Ireland or anything, but it does mean that the links between Great Britain and Northern Ireland are diminishing, and a so-called all-island economy is flourishing more than ever. This likely isn't a short-term alignment either. Due to the terms of the deal, Northern Ireland is part of a special EU customs area with the Republic of Ireland, continuing links on the island of Ireland between the EU and Northern Ireland. This connection could be changed going forward, but the deal sets out a very close relationship here, with Northern Ireland remaining far closer to the EU than the rest of the UK, which could very easily boost support for a united Ireland. Anyway, how does this all tie back to Foster and the DUP? Well, due to a quirk of the 2017 election, the DUP were handed vastly increased amounts of power through their supply and confidence relationship with Theresa May's Conservative Party. During this time, they famously rejected May's Brexit deal, which attempted to prevent a hard border on the island of Ireland through a soft Brexit. As we all know, May's deal failed, not only because of the DUP's opposition though, it must be said, and we then ended up with Johnson's deal, on the promise that there wouldn't be a hard border between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Although by this point, Johnson was holding his own majority, so he no longer needed to work closely with the DUP and could fairly comfortably ignore concerns. Ultimately, Johnson didn't meet the assurance he made to the DUP, and the deal has led to the trade difficulties that we've already discussed. The problem for the DUP is that while they didn't support the deals, their actions help lead us down this path to a more disconnected Northern Ireland and a more connected all-island economy, the opposite of what they would have wanted, and something which could lead to a boost in Irish unity. All of this doesn't mean that a Northern Irish exit is likely, even if a referendum were to occur and this polling were to continue. The gap has certainly been closing, but polling is far from perfect and often overestimates the demand for change. As such, many experts in the region don't actually believe that nationalists have a genuine shot at winning. Well, not yet at least. Also, this is the result of more than just Brexit. Demographics and preferences are changing in Northern Ireland. No longer is there a completely indelible link between faith and politics. It's still a factor, but decreasingly so, with more people than ever crossing those lines which were once thought to be ironclad. The gap between the two certainly does seem to be closing, with one Sinn Féin MP remarking that we are probably as close as I've ever experienced in my lifetime to an Irish exit. However, even he agreed that the time wasn't right. Not only are the polling numbers not secure, but as the SDLP's leader admits, they haven't made a full proposition to voters and simply aren't ready for a referendum on the issue, with him suggesting that Scotland will be the first to leave. Since we started making this video, Arlene Foster, Northern Ireland's First Minister and DUP leader, announced her resignation, with her soon to step down as leader. Whether this leadership change will turn the tides is yet to be seen, but I'm sure that that's what many unionists will be hoping for. What do you think though? Is this polling actually reflective of the reality? Would Northern Ireland vote for the United Kingdom or a united Ireland? And if they are set to leave, then who'll be first to go? Them or Scotland? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you want to learn more about Scottish independence and the prospect of them leaving the UK in order to rejoin the EU, then check out the video we made on that topic. It's linked in the description. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified every time we release a new video. Special thanks to our Patreon backers who make videos like this one possible. And if you want to see your name at the end of videos, then you too can back us on Patreon. The link to that's in the description.